What's going on, guys? On the 2015 WRXs, you can purchase Subaru's OEM Footwell Illumination lighting kit for about $170. If you don't already know what that is, that's an LED lighting kit that goes underneath the dashboard of your car, and it actually powers in through your glove box light here. And the OEM kit essentially is run 24/7. Now you can control the brightness on the OEM kit by adjusting the brightness of your overall instrumentation on the dashboard here, just with the dial on the left over there. But it is on 24/7. It's on all the time. Whenever you've got that key in the ignition and the accessories on, or whenever your interior illumination is on, the Footwell Illumination kit is on. So over the past couple of days I've been thinking about this, and I noticed that every time you open the door, these map and dome lights come on. I've got mine off back here, but these lights come on when you open that door. When you close the door, they slowly fade out. And I love that. That is really nice touch. If you unlock the car with your keys, they also turn on, so that as you're approaching your car, you unlock the car and you see the inside of the car is all lit up. So I thought there's gotta be a way that I can wire in some LEDs to the top map lights, run a wire down beneath the footwell so that every time I open the door, those LEDs come on, and every time I close the door, they fade out gradually. So I found these LEDs online for $8 each. I will put a link in the description to them, but they're 6 super bright red LEDs. I bought 2 of them. The website is there, but these are nice. I've already tested them out once and they fade really nice and smoothly. Cheaper LEDs, and by cheaper I'm talking like 99 cents from China on eBay, would maybe be not as smooth when they're fading out. They might be choppy, but honestly $8 each is pretty cheap as it is. So I've just got 2 of these, much cheaper than the $170 OEM kit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little DIY custom install. I've got some 18 gauge primary wire here, which is a little bit big for the application, but that was honestly all the store had. But I'm gonna wire this in to that map light that I just showed you that comes on and off when I open and close the doors of my car. Alright, so let's get started right away on this. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this map light up here. So I've got a big screwdriver, flathead. It just goes into these little holes up here. Pop this down. We'll do the other side, pop this down, and this entire piece just clips right out. Be easy with it. You don't wanna crack it or break it, but it is not too hard to get out. Now we've got our lights up here that are on because I've got the door open. And if I close the door, I'll just show you guys that again. Super nice. It just fades out really smoothly. I love that. Alright guys, so I've turned off the LEDs up top there, and I'm just gonna shine a flashlight on here because it is dark up there. You can see there is a little screw right there, and on the other side, same thing. 2 screws you have to undo to pull this entire assembly out. Now I'm just gonna give a tug on the top part here and pull this whole thing out. It's held in by 3 clips. And there we go. Pretty easy to get out, guys. There's the back side of it. And there we go. Alright, things are going to get a little bit technical here, but obviously because we're trying to run wire from that map light, which is in our roof, down to the footwells, where the LEDs are going to be, we need to extend that. We need to add a bunch of wire, which I've got a good amount here, good length of wire here. And I've already stripped the 2 ends of the wire, if you can see here. I've just stripped a tiny little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crimp on that blue and red connector onto the wires here. If you don't know how to crimp, look that up on YouTube. There's tons of videos on that, but I've just got a really cheap crimper tool here, and I'm just going to do that. And I'm also going to put some heat shrink tubing on the ends. Alright, so I've just crimped the one end, and I'm going to use heat shrink tubing just to kind of seal it up a bit. Alright, and then on to the next one here. Alright, so now we've got our 2 ends ready to go, and we're just going to connect these now. They're going to wedge in nice and snug up in the map light on the positive and negative connectors. And then we're going to extend this wire down through the roof, through the pillar, and then down into where the LEDs are going to go in the footwells. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run these 2 wires that I just crimped up through the front of this the roof liner where the window meets it. Previously I put my dash cam up there, and the wire is going to come out right here, and then we're going to work on connecting the wires to the back panel here. Alright, so as you can see, I've now pulled the 2 wires out through the roof liner, and I ran those wires along up here, through here, and they're coming down through here, and then I'm going to run them down the pillar to our feet down at the bottom. But up here, what we're going to do now is connect these wires onto the back, and it's really hard for me to show me doing this. I'll show you after I finish. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wedge these connectors here that we have on each side of a light bulb. You'll notice that right on each side of the LED bulb is a little gap. There's one here for the positive side and another gap on here for the negative side. And I'm just going to wedge these wires with the connectors that we crimped onto each side. And then every time the door opens, it's going to send also power through the 2 wires through down to where our Footwell LEDs are. Alright guys, making really good progress now. You'll notice I've got one connector wedged in on this side here, right? And then over here, I've got the other connector wedged in, and it's honestly a really tight fit. It's gonna definitely stay place. And the way I've done this is absolutely perfect. When I open the doors, the LEDs are gonna illuminate because we're gonna have power coming to this one, right? It's going to be sending power to this one, negative to this one, but both lights are going to be on. Now if I ever turn just one light on, just the driver's light here like this, there's no power coming to this light, and therefore I still have the ability to turn just one map light on if I just want to quickly check for change or something. I'm able to do that without turning on the red LEDs at my feet, just because I might not want that. So I might overlay a photograph of this as well, but just the close-up. This is the back of the panel. So I've got one wire connecting on one side and the other connecting to the other side. Now you can do it on the same side if you want, it wouldn't make a difference. And to be completely honest, it doesn't matter whether or not you get your negative or positives right, because LEDs can just be reversed. They are polar sensitive and they can just be reversed, and they'll work either way. So if we don't have it right, we'll just reverse the actual LED. Alright guys, before we proceed, let's just give it a quick test. I've just got the wires connected and then the LED here. And if I open my door, aha! Perfect! Awesome! There we go. Let's just close the door. Oh, fantastic. That looks great. Transitions out really smoothly. Alright, so I've ran that wire now down this entire A-pillar right into here. And then this panel right here just pulls off from the top. Start with the top, pull off, and it comes off really easily. And then I think I'm gonna fish the wires through this hole here, and then they'll come out down in the bottom here, and then I can start connecting the actual LEDs to the wire. Alright, we definitely don't want these 2 wires to touch each other at this point because they are live, and one's a negative and one's a positive, and they will spark if they do that. So I've just wrapped the ends with some tape here now, and then I'm gonna feed them through this hole and then pull them out from the bottom. Alright, so I've got the wires out, and they are just up here. Kind of tidy it up a bit. So I just put the panel back in place here, just pops back on, and then we're ready to begin wiring the LEDs up down here. So what I'm going to do is connect one LED with a positive and a negative here, and then I'm going to splice off of these 2 and run another positive and negative over to the driver's side. Alright, so it's pretty tricky to record this, but I've got the 2 negatives here, and then I'm going to lead on with another negative down here, and I'm going to put them all together and then run the rest of that negative across here over to the driver's side. And then we'll work on the positive afterwards. So I'm just heat shrinking this. So now I've got the negative coming from up here, going into part of the negative on the light, and then more negative leading on. And now we'll do the positive here. Alright, now you'll notice the LED's on, obviously now because it's connected and the door's open. I've got the ends taped. If you wanted to be super safe doing this, you could undo your battery, but this is such a small thing, I'm not as concerned, but just heat shrinking this on now too. And there we go. So now we've got positive and negative coming down, connecting to the LED in the middle, and then they're gonna continue on these wires to the other side where we will end with another LED. Now I'm just gonna take off the 3M and mount this up here, and we'll have some nice Footwell illumination. Alright guys, here we have it. This is the passenger side. I've actually just mounted the LED strip beneath right here. It fits quite perfectly. And I've just kind of zip tied the wires all together, and I zip tied it up here with the plastic, and then ran it through the back right there. Kind of see it right there, and it goes across, and then it comes out right over here. Now I'm just gonna finish up same thing as before, connecting the positive and the negatives to the LED wire, and then I'll mount the LED wire and we'll be finished then. Both LEDs will be in place and they'll come on exactly how I want them to. Alright guys, so I just finished the driver's side and mounted it up above with the 3M. Alright guys, so obviously I've got the map light unit back up in place. Now all we have to do is screw it back in, so I'm going to do that now. Perfect. There we go, and then now, last but not least, don't forget the cover. There we go. This light works. And then when I turn this light on, we've got the Footwell LEDs now. Alright guys, moment of truth here. I'm just going to open the door and we'll see how the LEDs that I put in look. Awesome, they look so good down there. Best part about it is they come on when the door's open and they fade out when the door's closed. So as I close the door here, watch what they do. Very smooth transition as it fades out. It's not choppy, it fades out perfectly in sync with the top map lights. And then the way I've wired it, if I turn on the left map light, I can actually see if I need to check my wallet or get some change out. Turn that one off. And then if we turn on the right side map light, the Footwell lights come on. Alright guys, so I'm not gonna lie, that did take about 4 hours of total work, including all of the wiring work that I had to do outside of the car, and then actually getting the wires in the car and routing them through the headliner and down the pillar and across the car. That was a bit tricky. The hardest part was getting the wiring kind of organized and sorted throughout the car, and across the middle piece right here, getting across that was a bit tricky, but I will say it was definitely worth it. These LEDs were $8 each, and then I probably spent about $10 on the wiring, and I had all the tools necessary already in my garage here. So just getting into the driver's side here, it's really awesome. So this was definitely one of the more complicated things I've done to the car. If you have any questions or comments about this, feel free to comment down below, and I'd be more than happy to help if you are stuck or have any questions about this, if you're thinking of doing it yourself. If you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos about my WRX, feel free to subscribe by clicking right here, and that way you'll see all my videos when I upload them. Alright guys, thanks for watching.